Hello, Snow West. Today is Tuesday, May 27th, and I'm Christopher, aka Graybeard, your pirate guide for West Yellowstone and Island Park. And we are out walking the Huskies again, as is the normal activity of the afternoon. This afternoon on the Facebook page, I posted up two different questions. Number one, what is something that used to be acceptable back in 2000 that is now socially unacceptable, or maybe flat out just not even legal anymore, that you used to do on your snowmobile? I'd love to know what is something that you're painfully aware of that you could do once before but you can't do now, or something that you used to do before and you wouldn't do now. Find that post. I think that's the blue post from today, and let me know what your answer is. Second question of the day was the red post on Facebook, and that to me is a little more important. As I am preparing for next season, and I have a lot of stuff I need to do this summer to get ready for it, I need to make a decision on video formats. Do you prefer the vertical format like you're looking at right now, or the more traditional horizontal format? I prefer the horizontal. I think that's just a lot more beautiful to look at when we're doing outdoor snowmobiling. We have a lot of landscape and a lot of scenery, but you might not. Facebook has made it very clear to me that they prefer everything to be vertical. YouTube prefers everything to be horizontal. With the new camera that I hope to be getting in November, I should be able to shoot 8K horizontal, which means I'll be able to crop that and get a vertical orientation that probably will give me almost 4K. It's going to look gorgeous. But that means I have to go through and edit every single one of the videos that I produce for you guys twice. So my question for you today is, do you have a strong preference for vertical orientation on Facebook or horizontal orientation on Facebook? Go find the red question post on Facebook and let me know what your answer is. Thanks, guys. Yesterday was Memorial Day, and I tried to put up a couple of Memorial Day oriented posts, but I took the 3-day weekend off just to hang out with my wife and my dogs and get a bunch of stuff done around the house. I'm not sure what you did for your Memorial Day. I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you set aside a little bit of time to actually remember, as they say, the reason for the season. In that case, what Memorial Day was all about. Some people get that confused, I think, with Veterans Day, and they try to acknowledge and thank all the vets, but Memorial Day isn't for people who are living vets. Memorial Day is for vets that made the ultimate sacrifice on our behalf and have passed on to their eternal reward. God bless them. And I posted a fun little comment about John Wayne. Now, John Wayne's going to be somebody that the younger generation really doesn't know. But if you're probably 40 and above, you may have grown up with John Wayne. I had the pleasure of literally growing up with John Wayne. He lived across the street from us down in Newport Beach, California when I was a very little boy. So we're going back 55 years. But John was an amazing guy, and I found a wonderful video of him that I posted explaining the TAPS song, what the music stands for, and probably most of you have never heard the words that go to TAPS. If you get a chance, again, jump out over on the Facebook page and you will find a really cool short little narration by John Wayne about TAPS on Memorial Day. So as we're coming up on the end of May, it's only a handful of days now. We'll be in June, and once we're into June, we'll start counting down the last couple of weeks until Midsummer's Eve, which has always seemed like a strange thing because, you know, Midsummer's Eve is actually the first day of summer. Not middle of summer by any stretch of the imagination, but thus it has been for hundreds of years. And of course, for those of us that are snowmobiling enthusiasts, Midsummer's Eve means the longest day of the year, and the real countdown to sledding season will begin once we get there. This week I had an interesting email. Somebody's been watching the channel, but they've never been to West Yellowstone, never been to Island Park, never been riding out here in the West, and wrote me the obvious question, you know, Chris, where should I go? Where should I stay? What are the must-see places? What are the things that I absolutely positively have to do if I come out? And as we talked about this and that, one of the real things that came down to is, where should I stay? Should I stay in West Yellowstone? Should I stay in Island Park? And if you're an old salty dog, a well-seasoned visitor to Island Park and West Yellowstone, you know that those towns, while they're on the opposite sides of the same mountain, really couldn't be more different one from another. There is a striking difference between West Yellowstone, Montana, and Island Park, Idaho. West Yellowstone is a city in the most classic sense. You've got hotels, you've got motels, you've got beautiful lodges, Airbnbs, you know, tremendous nightlife, all manner of restaurants and places you can go, multiple rental facilities, service centers, and of course you've got access to Yellowstone National Park. While it's a small city, it is a city though in every sense. Island Park, on the other hand, not so much. Island Park is much more rural. It's quieter. The nightlife is significantly more limited. My personal preference, I love Island Park, but then for me, it has a lot to do with just being closer. You know, when I drive up there every day, Island Park saves me a solid 30 minutes versus going to West Yellowstone. So most of the time you'll see the videos that I post are all coming out of IP. But I'll still ride over the mountain and end up in West. I don't mind the ride, it doesn't bother me at all. So I get to the same riding areas regardless of which side of the mountain I put in on. When picking which side of the mountain you're going to stay on your visit, it really comes down to what you want. Do you want a larger hotel? Do you want a more commercial experience? Do you want lots of choices for, you know, restaurants and bars and nightlife? Or do you want more of a lodge? Do you want to rent a cabin? Do you want to be in a smaller, quieter, more rural, rustic experience? Both sides offer ride in, ride out. Maybe a little more so in Island Park because it's just smaller and more rural. It's a little more conducive to ride in and ride out, I think, in my opinion. But they both certainly offer it. They both cater totally to snowmobiles. That's the entire economy in the wintertime. So you're not going to make a bad choice there. But that was the nature of the discussion, and it's a pretty common discussion that I have with people. People reach out and want to know, what if I come for a couple of days, when should I come? What time of the year? They want a date. Where should I go? Where should I stay? What facilities should I expect? Yada, 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 just the normal stuff. And mind you, I'm perfectly happy to chat with people. I don't mind at all. I enjoy sharing the wealth. As I've said so many times in this channel, I know I am remarkably well blessed to live where I live and be able to ride where I do. And I have no problem at all sharing what limited knowledge I have with people. I want you guys to come out and I want you to have as good a time as you possibly can. If I can be part of that and my puppies are having a big time. If I can be part of that and I can share some of my knowledge and wisdom with you, I don't know what she's found, but she's got something, her nose is down. Come on, baby, come on, come on. And I can help make sure that your vacation is, as good as one of my good days when I'm riding, then, more power to both of us. I enjoy being of service. So if you have questions like that, don't hesitate to ask. But if you're going to come out and you've never been here before, where are you going to go? Well, you're going to go see Mesa Falls, of course. That's one of the must places. If you've never been inside of Yellowstone, at least once you've got to sign up and take the tour and go inside and see Yellowstone. If you've never been in there in the summertime, then definitely you've got to go at least once if you're here in the winter. If you've been there once in the winter, yeah, most people I talk to say they're probably not going to do it twice. Not until we get the rules and the laws changed, at least. And I remain cautiously optimistic that we may see a change in some of those rules. Maybe a couple of years yet. Maybe it's going to be even more than that. I don't know. But I do think there's at least a reasonable chance we will see some of the rules and regulations changed. If the carb and cafe rules are changed by the Department of Transportation for cars, then yeah, just maybe we're going to see some changes on snowmobiles that might be more conducive to us riding our sleds that we own rather than having to have rentals. And of course, if we liberalize things a little bit more, then we should be able to ride in ourselves and not have to have paid commercial guides. That's one of my dreams. We'll see if it comes true in this lifetime or somebody else's. As for summer activities, there's still a pile of snow in the mountains. I think we have breached the 50-inch margin finally. I think we're sub 50 now up on top at the 8,000 foot mark. So there's still a bit more snow than my ATV is capable of, and certainly way more than my bike is. But I got my bike out this weekend and took her out for her first ride, flat tires, dead battery, et cetera, et cetera. So I am getting that ready, and the ATV is ready. So another week or so, hopefully, certainly by the time we get to the first day of summer, I think all the trails will be wide open completely snow-free, and I will start making what I hope to be weekly trips up to Island Park in West Yellowstone and that whole area, and start doing some summer videography for you guys. Get out there and start looking at the same places that we ride during the winter, but from a summer perspective. I hope I can get into some of the places and see some more things that were inaccessible or overly challenging for wintertime. There were some places that it just was not conducive for me to ride, especially not when I had big groups of people I didn't know show up. Guys, if you have the opportunity, please make sure you sign up for a real avalanche course, come fall. Go sign up and take one of the 3-day courses. Get your avalanche pack, get a beacon, get a radio, do the basic stuff. So when you guys come out here to the mountains and you get a chance to do some big riding, you got a fighting chance if you decide to go take some risks and go places that maybe you ought not be. But I know so many of you came out with me last year that didn't have radios, had not taken any real avalanche training at all, but you wanted to go in the steep and the deep. I mean, over and over again, I heard you guys want to go see, the most exciting, gnarly places we have. And we do have some, make no mistake. And you get over on the Jefferson side, and it is steep, and it is deep, and it is technical, and you can get in a world of hurt. And boy, I'll tell you, 3 days, take like an Avalanche 1 course with Mike Duffy, fabulous course. You will learn so much that you didn't know and be so much better prepared, just to traverse a side of a hill if you have to, let alone actually do an avalanche search or a recovery. That kind of knowledge is just priceless if this is a sport that you love and you really want to get into off-trail mountain riding. Go sign up for the class. Get certified, get your gear, and next year when you come riding, we can go some more places. There were many days where I was very hesitant to go places that I would have preferred to go, and I end up not going with groups. I mean, the fact is I'm riding with strangers. I don't know what your qualifications are. I don't know your skill levels, but I do know what you're not wearing. I can see that really fast. When you don't have a radio, you're not wearing an avalanche beacon, you don't have an Avi pack, that screams to me that it's going to be a trail day. We're going for alpine meadows and that's it. And as you know, I love alpine meadows, so it's really not a big deal for me. That doesn't bug me a lot at all. Not having that training and not having that gear means you're not going to go down into Thirsty Creek. You're not probably going to go down the side of Two Tops. You're not going to go and play on Sawtell and Mount Jefferson. You're not going into Cake Springs. You're significantly limiting the places that you could ride and the experiences you can have because you haven't invested the time and the effort to get trained and get qualified and be ready to be an asset and not a liability. So I will harp on this over the course of the summer because it was really something that surprised me. Gosh, just the number of people that didn't even have radios was really surprising. I would think even if you're just a pure, hardcore, dedicated trail rider, you'd have a radio. Just so you can talk to your buddies and find out which bar they stopped at and, you blasted by they were there. But second to that is a beacon. Even if you don't know how to do a search, at least if you have the beacon on and you get trapped, there's a fighting chance that somebody else might know. Mind you, I think if you buy the beacon, you ought to go sign up for the course, as I've said, but I get it. Radio, mandatory. Beacon, first piece of technology you ought to have. Shovel and a probe right there with the beacon. And then, of course, if you're really serious and you really want to get into high mountain riding, then go get yourself an Avi pack. And please don't tell me you can't afford it. There are so many packs for sale now. You can go pick up a pack for $300. There are many, many packs. Lots of great used packs, lots of brand new ones in every size, shape, and configuration you can imagine. You don't have to go out and drop $1,200, $1,500 on a brand new top of the line pack so that you can have, a basic level of preparedness and basic level of security. For me, as I've told you guys, I make a promise to my wife that I'm going to come home. I mean, that's basically our agreement. I can go and ride anytime I want. I can ride as often as I want. But my commitment is, honey, I'm going to come home. I will be there at the end of the day, smiling when you walk in the door, or she'll be there when I walk in the door. But Christopher is coming back home at the end of the day, and he won't take any risks that he doesn't think he has a very high probability of surviving. And again, those of you that did ride with me when we went into any technical terrain, you saw I'm a very cautious rider. As we used to say in aviation, there are old pilots and there are bold pilots, but there are no old, bold pilots. Same thing goes for mountain riding, guys. There's old mountain riders and there's bold mountain riders, but there aren't a whole lot of old bold. That is a very small, narrow, select group. If you push it hard and you push it long, you're going to get bitten. So I at least try to mitigate my risks with education, with technology, watching the snow forecast, watching the avalanche risk, you know, all the little things. We have all this information and all this technology. We just have to put it to use, guys. There's no excuse for showing up on the mountain and not knowing what the avalanche danger is, what the forecast says, which slope, which aspect of the mountain is dangerous, where you need to stay off of, and where you need to go. And there are days where you absolutely positively don't go riding. Remember last year when we had that, there was a 15-foot slide down inside of Thirsty Creek, and I had been riding with those two guys the day before, and I had warned them that that was really not a place. I wouldn't take them down that day because I thought it was very dangerous. And I said, you probably don't want to be around there. And the next day they went ahead and went down, and man, that thing broke loose, and they didn't get hit. They were lucky, but it was just luck. It wasn't skill. It wasn't preparation. It wasn't planning. It was just dumb luck. And I'm glad, you know, because we wouldn't have got them. When I went back down in there a couple of weeks later with the drone and found the avalanche debris, I mean, it was huge. And it had already started to compact and melt a little by the time that I saw it. I can only imagine how ugly that must have been. I mean, try to imagine being underneath 15 feet of snow. I don't care who's digging for you. You're not coming out of that. That is so much volume and so much weight that the best team, unless you just had a Herculean effort with a huge group of people, man, digging down 15 feet is incredibly hard to do. All right, well, enough of that me pontificating on safety and training. It's important. You guys know that. Make it happen. Get ready for 26. Who knows? Maybe we're going to have a stellar snow year. Wouldn't that be freaking spectacular? We didn't do bad this year. Really, truly didn't. There were some great days for Island Park and West Yellowstone. Some days that were just absolutely fabulous. But it wasn't a stellar year. It wasn't an epic year. Just a good, normal year. And there's no reason to think that next year couldn't be even better. Hopefully some of you guys are already making plans, booking reservations, making dates on your calendars when you're going to come out and come for a ride. I know a few of you guys I saw multiple times last year, which I thought was pretty cool. You were able to get away twice, maybe 3 times during the course of the year and come out and have some serious fun. And it's just such a wonderful place. It's so big. There's so many places you can ride within the Island Park Caldera complex. And such a varied terrain, from absolute noob, never been on a sled before, to, you know, guys that are hardcore, very, very well skilled, and challenges at every level in between. It is just a spectacular, wonderful place. And needless to say, I'm an enormous advocate. I think it is one of the greatest places to ride in the United States. It has so much to offer for everybody at any skill level out there. Doesn't make any difference at all. There really is something for everybody out here. All right, that's enough for today. I've been prattling. These little walk and talks are unscripted, as you know. I just come along and chat, and it's a stream of consciousness. So this is Christopher, Graybeard, your pirate guide for West Yellowstone and Island Park. I'm gonna sign off and take my puppies. I've still got about 5 miles more walking to do tonight, and we'll talk to you later on. Thanks again, guys.